to this first lesson on Fusion 360 workshop, namely 01 Introduction. To start off, let's introduce myself. As there will be some videos in this series, I think it's important that you have an idea who that person is talking behind the screen. For those joining the international event of EUROAVIA Oostende 2021, welcome. I'll be looking forward meeting you during the social activities. So, my name is Bramsam. I'm enrolled in aeronautical engineering at the Vives University of Applied Sciences. Next to that, I am currently the president of EUROAVIA Oostende. As far as CAD software goes, I used to work with Siemens Solid Edge. After that, I switched to Fusion 360, which I still use up to this day. Also, at my university, we work with Autodesk Inventor Professional 2020-2021. Currently, I am looking into using AutoCAD and Revit. Disclaimer: in no way am I a professional in these software packages. I've put together these courses in order to share my experiences with you and provide you with the basic skills for designing projects using CAD. The focus of this workshop is providing you with the skills and mindset to design CAD models. As the process in itself is not bound to a software package, it all comes down to the thought process that you undertake. The basic thought process of what to do first, where to place constraints, how to orient your part, and which parameters to define will be the same no matter what package you are using. Next to that, these courses will include some aerospace-specific examples, such as aircraft, spacecraft parts, wings, and the Laval nozzles. For those who would like to further deepen their understanding, please take a look at the video description. There you can find some links to the Autodesk Education platform. The platform contains manuals and instructional videos that will help you. So, what is Fusion 360 exactly? Fusion 360 is cloud-based software, which means that all of your projects are stored in the cloud. The same applies to simulations. When solving a simulation, you can choose whether to solve it locally or on the cloud. Next to that, the cloud function enables you to access your projects anywhere, anytime, on any platform. It doesn't matter, phone, tablet, Mac, you name it, with various apps at your disposal and the full web version of Fusion 360 available at fusion.online.autodesk.com. The software has certain workspaces and tools to give you maximum control over your project. The first one is CAD, or Computer-Aided Design, which is the general term for design of a part or system making use of computer technology. Next to that, there is the CAM, or Computer-Aided Manufacturing. In Fusion 360, this is the environment where you can create the G-code to manufacture your part using a CNC or 3D printing, better known as additive manufacturing. This last option is revolutionizing the way we design, providing rapid prototyping and/or directly printing exotic parts. Just to give an example, think of the Rutherford engine made and designed by Rocket Lab. CAE stands for Computer-Aided Engineering and includes simulation methods and tools. A common method of analysis is by using finite element analysis, which is based upon the finite element method. Some of you might have heard of this and even used it in calculations. There's also the PCB environment. This enables you to create your circuit boards and include them into your project, thus integrating mechanical and electronic parts into a single project through a single software package. Finally, there is the collaborative environment. This allows you to work with a team on a project. In combination with the web and mobile applications, the workflow is greatly improved. From designing together to placing notes at models that need changes or can be improved upon. In general, it is a great way to improve the project management. Who is it for? The software is free to students, educators, and hobbyists. Note that hobbyists who are in possession of a personal license do have some limitations, such as a maximum of 10 models that can be opened at the same time. Also, engineers and product designers can greatly benefit from the capabilities the software provides. Just to give some examples of aerospace companies using Fusion 360, there's the German company High Impulse Technologies, which uses Fusion for designing its hybrid rockets. Then there is Firefly Aerospace, which is a United States-based launcher which uses some Autodesk software packages, including Fusion for generative design. So we've talked about what it is, what it can do, and who's it for. The next step is getting your hands onto the software. Where can you get it? In this case, we'll be going over the steps you should take in order to get your educational version of Fusion. The first step would be to surf to www.autodesk.com/education/students. There, scroll down until you see the following steps. 1. Create an account. 2. Check your eligibility. 3. Download and install the product. After having created an account and verified you're a student or educator, you can proceed and click the Get Products button. Then search for the Fusion 360 icon and click on it. This should lead you to a new page where an executable file will be downloaded. Open the executable and follow the installation procedure. Okay, so let's assume you have successfully installed Fusion. It's time to take your first steps. For the first lesson, we will be exploring the interface. As you can see in the picture, this is what the interface looks like. Once you started the program, but let's not talk over a picture, okay? Let's start it up and show you around. Okay, so after opening Fusion 360, this is the interface that will be shown to you. But what does the interface consist of? First of all, there's the application bar. In the application bar, you have the data panel. In the data panel, you can see everything related to your current project. In this case, all the parts, drawings, and other files related to your project. In this case, this is the RC car. As you can see, I currently have one design open named Chassis Rear Assembly. This is marked with a B. This is the initial of my name. This is useful when working in group so that you can see who of your colleagues is currently working on a certain part. Next to that, you can manage your people or the people working in your group by pressing the People button. Next to that, you have the File button. Here you can create a new file, open a file, recover some documents, upload the file to the cloud, save it, export it, 3D print or just use a 3D printing utility, share your file through a public link or by sending it to GrabCAD or some other platform. And next to that you have the Save button. Also Undo and Redo are located here. And then you have your designs. So in this case there's the chassis design and an untitled design. When you start Fusion 360 you will always see just an untitled design with this canvas located here. Here you have your viewing cube. And if you want to create a new design, you can just add one by clicking the plus button. If you can see, you can create as many designs as you want, of course, within your limitations. So if you have a personal license, you will be limited to 10 designs that will be open simultaneously. Otherwise, you'll have to close some designs. Okay, so now we've had the application bar. Let's now go to the profile and preferences. So here you can see your profile, also indicated by your initials. Here you also have a kind of help desk, where you can go to community, go to the learning panel, which you can see here. Also here you can see job status. For instance, when you're doing a simulation, the job status will be displayed right here. Also notifications will be shown. For instance, if a simulation is ready, you will get notified by it. Okay, so let's go to the preferences. Preferences has everything to do with customizing your Fusion 360 to what you need or what you find comfortable using. In this case, you can select your language, your graphics driver, also the default modeling orientation. Let's show this one. Like, first of all, here in like most of the cases, it will be set to Y up as a standard. So if you want to change it to Z up standard, you can just select Z up, press apply, then go to OK, and you will see if you open a new file, the Z axis will be pointed upwards. But for this case, let's just keep it into the standard preferences. So let's change it back to the Y up and press apply. Next to that, a very important thing for these courses is make sure that your units are in the metric system. In this case, we will be using millimeters. So if you want to follow the examples, please make sure that the units are in millimeters. So let's go to default units, look at design, which will be in millimeters. Electronics, you can leave it as it is, as we won't go any further on the electronics design in these courses. But if you want to know more about it, feel free to watch the link in the video description. There you can find much more explanation on the electronics design functions within Fusion 360. Then there's also the manufacturing, which is also default in millimeters, and simulation and generative design, which is also in the metric system. Okay, so now we had the preferences. Here you can see the toolbar. The toolbar houses all your tools and your workspace. So, what workspaces are there? There's the design workspace, the generative design workspace, which is currently locked. But if you have a professional version of Fusion 360, you can use it to create generative designs. Then there's the render workspace. Here you can create photorealistic images of your products or models that you have created. Then there is also animation, simulation, manufacturing, and a drawing workspace. All of these will be explained in detail in further videos. Okay, so let's continue. Here you have some tabs. So you have your solid tool tab, which contains all the tools that will be required to create solids. Then there's the surface tab, where you have all the surface operations that you can do, and also the sheet metal tab. Here in the sheet metal tab, you can create objects which will be created out of folded steel or folded plates. We will also explain these in further videos. And then there's the tools. Here you can send your model to a 3D printing service, include add-ins, which will be useful especially when creating gears, such as spur gears, which is essential when creating a drive system. And then you also have your inspection tools, such as measurement, center of mass, looking at the curvature of your models. So this can be found in the tools, in the toolbar. Then let's look at the view cube. So here you have your view cube, which shows your reference system. So in this case, Z, X, and Y. And to move it around, you can just click it and drag it around to move around your reference point. But you can also just click one of the faces. So if you want to look at the front, you can press front and it will point you towards that direction. If you want to go back to the home view, you can just press the house and you will go back to your standard view. In order to change your standard view, you can click this button. Set current view as home view. You can click fit to view. So let's change it around and let's take this. So if you press home now, you will return to this position. So if I go here, press the home button, you will return to the set position that you've assigned earlier. To reset it, you can just press reset home. When pressing the button now, you will go back to the standard home position. Next is to take a look at the browser. As you can see here in this untitled file, the browser is quite empty. So to explain it a bit better, let's go to the RC car assembly. As you can see here, the browser is much larger and contains more information. Essentially, the browser is a list that contains a lot of information about your project, such as the different components that you are using, the analysis that you did on your project. In this case, it were analysis on the center of mass. Also, you can look at the sketches and the joints. Maybe you've already noticed that you have this eye icon. This eye will enable you to enable or disable a certain component to be showed in your project. So in this case, I decided to disable the joints. But if you want to see them, you can just click the eye. It will turn dark gray and you will see all the joints in your assembly. To hide it again, just press it and it will become transparent. Underneath the browser, you have the timeline. In the timeline, you can see all the different steps that you've undertaken to create your part or to assemble your assembly. In this case, it's an assembly, so it mainly consists out of components and joints. Note, be careful when changing the order of your timeline, as it is possible to edit the timeline and change a certain position of a task that you did. You may encounter some errors, and this is because Fusion 360 is parametric software. So, what do we have next? Next, we do have the canvas. The canvas is the workplane that you can see in the background. As you can see, it has a grid and it has the Z and X axis labeled on it. You can see the red and the blue axis. When zooming in or zooming out, you can see that the grid size changes. So for instance, it will go from 5 millimeters to 1 millimeter to maybe 10 millimeters. In some cases this is useful if it automatically adapts, as it does now, but in some other cases you might prefer having a fixed grid. For this, go to the grid icon, then go to the grid settings, select fixed, and assign the value that you want for the size. Once you're happy with the setting that you did, so in case let's change this to 50, hit OK, and now it is fixed. If you want it back to the adaptive mode, just click adaptive and press OK. Next we have the camera tools, for instance to orbit your model. Just look at a certain side of your model, or to move along your model using the pan function. On the other side, you have some settings for the displays and the viewports. For instance, you can choose the multiple view options, which will give you different views of your model, like a top view, side view, and front view. But in this case, let's just keep it single view, as this will be the view in which you'll be working the most of the time. So having had all the functions that you have in your interface, I think this is it for the first lesson. So if there would be any questions, feel free to contact me or to write it in the video link below. Also, make sure to check the official links to the Fusion 360 educational site. There you can find a lot more information on how to use Fusion 360. So, good luck and until the next video. Goodbye.